Imagine losing everything familiar, your home, your comfort, your internet, and then discovering a magical world hidden deep inside a forbidden forest. But this isn't just a fantasy story, because what the children find inside that forest changes their lives forever. And trust me, no one expected how strange, emotional, and magical this journey would become. Today, we're diving deep into the Magic Faraway Tree, the modern fantasy adventure inspired by Enid Blyton's legendary books. A film filled with magical lands, bizarre creatures, secret worlds in the sky, and a powerful message about imagination, family, and escaping the digital world. And by the end of this story, the Thompson family will realize that magic isn't just hidden inside the faraway tree, it's hidden inside themselves. So sit back, relax, and let's enter the Forbidden Woods. The movie begins in modern-day London, fast-paced city life, smart homes, technology everywhere, and at the center of it all is Polly Thompson, played by Claire Foy. Polly works at a huge tech company creating futuristic household devices. Everything seems successful on the outside, but something feels wrong. During a major company presentation, Polly discovers that the company's newest invention, a so-called smart fridge, is secretly spying on users and collecting personal data. Everyone else sees profit, but Polly sees danger. And in one shocking moment, she quits her job. Immediately. No backup plan, no security, no idea what comes next. Her husband, Tim, played by Garfield, supports her decision, but there's one problem. The family now has no stable income. So Tim convinces everyone to leave London behind and move to the countryside, where he plans to grow tomatoes and start his dream business, homemade artisan pasta sauce. Yes, pasta sauce. And honestly, nobody except Tim believes this plan will work, especially their children. Beth, the oldest daughter, is completely addicted to her phone and social media. She hates nature, hates dirt, and hates the countryside immediately. Joe spends most of his time obsessed with video games and technology. And then there's the youngest child, Fran. Quiet, curious, different from the others. Unlike her siblings, Fran seems strangely drawn to the countryside, almost as if something is calling her. The family arrives at their new home, and it's a disaster. The place is basically a collapsing barn surrounded by mud, trees, and absolutely terrible Wi-Fi. One of the funniest moments happens when Tim desperately tries to stay optimistic while everything around him falls apart. But beneath all the comedy, something feels strange about this place. The nearby villagers act nervous whenever the forest is mentioned. And then the family meets a bizarre local farmer, played by Simon Farnaby himself, who gives the children a serious warning. Stay away from the woods, especially the Forbidden Woods. Of course, telling children not to explore a mysterious forest is basically guaranteeing they'll go there immediately. That night, Fran notices something glowing outside her window. Tiny floating lights drift toward the forest, almost as if they're guiding her somewhere. The next morning, while Beth complains about having no signal and Joe sulks about missing his games, Fran secretly follows the glowing lights deep into the woods. And then, she sees it. A gigantic tree towering impossibly high into the sky. Not a normal tree, a magical tree, the faraway tree. Its branches disappear into the clouds. Windows and tiny doors are carved into its trunk, and strange voices echo from inside. Fran slowly steps closer, when suddenly, a fairy appears. This is Silky, played by Nicola Coughlan, warm, cheerful, and slightly mysterious. But what happens next changes everything. Because Silky doesn't seem surprised to see Fran. It's almost like she was expecting her. Silky explains that the faraway tree is home to magical beings and changing fantasy lands that appear above the clouds. Different worlds arrive at the top of the tree, some beautiful, some dangerous, and some never meant for humans. Fran is terrified, but she's also fascinated. And before she can even process what's happening, Silky invites her inside. Meanwhile, back home, Tim and Polly are struggling badly. The tomato farm idea is failing, the children are miserable, and the entire family feels emotionally disconnected from each other. But unknown to them, Fran has just discovered the one thing that might save them all. And trust me, this is only the beginning. Because once the other children discover the faraway tree, their lives become stranger than they ever imagined. And the magical worlds waiting above the clouds are far more dangerous than they seem. Fran eventually brings Beth and Joe back to the forest. At first, neither of them believes her story. A magical tree? Fairies? Secret worlds? It sounds ridiculous. But the moment they step inside the trunk of the faraway tree, everything changes. The inside of the tree is enormous, bigger than physically possible. Twisting staircases spiral upward forever. Tiny magical homes are built into the bark, and strange residents stare curiously at the children as they pass. This is where we meet the unforgettable inhabitants of the tree. First is Moonface, played by Nonso Anozie. Despite his round face and goofy appearance, Moonface acts like the self-appointed leader of the magical community. He's dramatic, overly confident, and constantly irritated by everyone around him, especially Saucepan Man. And yes, his name is literally Saucepan Man. As the adventures continue, strange things begin happening inside the faraway tree. The magical lands become unstable. Certain worlds disappear too quickly. Others become darker and more dangerous than before. And slowly, the children realize that Dame Snap is behind it all. Unlike Silky and Moonface, who believe imagination should be free and joyful, Dame Snap wants complete control over the magical worlds. She hates chaos, she hates fun, and most importantly, she hates children thinking for themselves. Her terrifying school, hidden inside one of the magical lands, is designed to force children into total obedience. No laughter, no imagination, no adventure. Just rules, punishment, and silence. The contrast is chilling. With the faraway tree collapsing around them, Beth and Joe finally confront Dame Snap in her terrifying world of rigid rules and endless discipline. But defeating her isn't about violence, it's about choice. The children realize that Dame Snap only has power when people stop believing in imagination, when they give up wonder, when they become emotionally disconnected. And that realization changes everything. Fran reminds her siblings why the tree matters, not because it's magical, but because it helped their family reconnect. It helped them laugh again, dream again, care about each other again. And in one emotional moment, the children reject Dame Snap's world completely. They choose imagination, adventure, freedom. And suddenly, Tim and Polly reconnect with their children, and the countryside that once felt like punishment now truly feels like home. Even the tomato sauce business finally begins succeeding, but the ending leaves one final magical mystery. As the family settles into their new life, Fran quietly looks toward the forest, and high above the trees, the faraway tree still stands, waiting, almost as if new adventures are only beginning. And that's what makes the Magic Faraway Tree more than just another fantasy film. Beneath all the colorful worlds, eccentric characters, and magical adventures, the movie is really about rediscovering wonder in a world consumed by technology and distraction. It's about reconnecting with family, rediscovering imagination, and remembering that sometimes the most magical thing isn't another fantasy world. It's simply being present with the people you love. And honestly, that message feels more important now than ever. So what did you think about the Magic Faraway Tree? Would you climb the tree and explore its magical worlds? Or would you stay far away from the Forbidden Forest? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this full movie explanation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep movie recaps and storytelling videos just like this one. Until next time, stay curious.